We only have about 2 to 3 years to build our personal brand. Very similarly to how our parents and the parents' generation before us were able to get real estate pretty easily and just kind of hold on to it. We're running out of digital real estate, personal brand real estate, because here soon, AI is going to be able to make 1,000 videos in my niche with 1,000 different faces and put them all out at the same time. So take advantage of this window now because it's closing really fast.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Report. Today, I got a guest who specializes in getting views online, helping other creators. He's worked with many 9-figure brand creators, people like Gary Brecka, people like Shelby Sapp, people like Mark Moss, just to name a few. Get views online, build a brand online, and I cannot wait for this episode. I got my man Briar Cochran in the building. Briar, welcome to the show, brother.
Come on, man. Excited to be here.
Yes, dude. Pumped to have you on. And man, so much to freaking dive into here, and a lot of game, a lot of value that we're gonna spit.
Wait, before we get into the first question.
Let's hear it, bro.
Okay, so
what do you got?
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, your guests, how important is their pre-existing personal brand to how they perform on your podcast?
There's a pretty clear distinction. The guests that come on the show that are successfully growing their personal brands on social media, they have a different gear when the lights come on.
Exactly.
And it's almost like a different personality that comes out as soon as we start recording. Because at the end of the day, you got to think about, whether it's a podcast or social media, it's a little bit entertaining. Like you're entertaining, right? And so you have to have that second gear. I'm not saying it's not authentic, it's not genuine. It's just another gear that comes out. And I noticed that amongst all my guests, the ones that have a personal brand that are successfully growing their audiences, they have that gear. They all have it.
So I call it talent. They have that. They're a talent, just like an actor, an actress. They have that talent. So your podcast has averaged maybe 970 views over the past year. Amazing on long form. My guests, I've worked with 5 that have been on your podcast. Their videos alone my clients have averaged over 4.7 thousand on your podcast. And so it just shows, I think if you grow a great personal brand, you also have the the effect that transcends not just you, but you bring it with you, right?
Yes.
And so the 5 people I've worked with that have been on the Rich Summers Report have also had great podcasts.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be like that, I don't think. We'll try to run it up a little bit. We'll try to run it up.
We're going to spit some game, dude.
Come on,
we're going to spit some game. Okay, so first things first, man. How should creators think about the clothes that they're wearing when they go out and shoot content, their appearance, how they look on camera?
Yeah, well, first, I think so many creators will get obsessed with this. Okay, they will literally get turned on by the thought of the clothes that they're wearing because it just sounds like, oh, it's so fun. I want to be so thoughtful and strategic about what I'm wearing. 99% of creators should not even be thinking about this. They need to learn the skill set of content, of storytelling. But once you get to that point, there's 3 layers and pillars that you can think about whenever you have clothes. Number 1 is association. What am I wearing and who is that associating myself with? Okay, great example of this. What I'm wearing right now, Siegelman Stables. If you know, it's kind of one of those things. There's going to be a few people who watch this that are going to be like, yo, this kid gets it. He gets it. It'd be similar if I wanted to associate myself with Kobe Bryant. What am I going to wear?
Laker jersey.
Exactly, because maybe I want people to think that I'm like a killer mentality or something like that.
I don't know what Siegelman's stayer is.
Stables.
What is it?
It's so this is basically like this influencer celebrity kind of high-end fashion brand. Okay, so like Justin Bieber will wear this.
Got it.
Timothy Chalamet, stuff like that. So that's number 1, association. Who do I want people to think about whenever they think of me? I need to match my clothing to that. Okay. Number 2. So a great example of this is if I'm going to be a nurse or if I'm doing anything scientific, I should be wearing maybe a lab coat or scrubs. Okay, because they associate. The second thing is contrast, right? So whenever someone is shooting a short form piece of content, there's going to be a visual effect where the first 2 seconds, what are people seeing? If you have an all black backdrop, you don't necessarily always want to wear an all black shirt. Maybe you wear a bright electric blue. That little visual hook gives them just a little, get your hook rate up a little bit. And then the third thing, which this is actually my favorite, is you can comment farm. And I want to get to this a little bit later, but this is just an easy one. Bear with me on this example. If I'm wearing something, I wear a MAGA hat, my comments are going nuts. My comments are going nuts, whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it's a MAGA hat or you're going blue circle, on the other side of the spectrum, right? So you can comment farm by just wearing little things that are going to get people to go to the comments and say something about it. So those are my 3 tips for clothing whenever it comes to being a creator.
Yeah, I like that. The one thing I'll say about, getting on camera is, obviously you should always wear something that's going to give you confidence. and give you an ability to at least put your best foot forward, right? And so that's different for everyone, right? The other thing I'll say is this: if you are struggling to get in shape, there's no better way or no better form of accountability but to actually start a podcast or start putting out social media content to where you're getting views online, you're on camera every single week, because at that point, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but like, I want to be fit. I want to look good on camera. And so it's the best form of accountability if you're struggling to get in shape, but to start getting on camera, because now you're going to actually get in shape. You have a
Dude,
reason to.
there's this, yeah, exactly. There's this creator named Oren John,
Okay.
Oren Meets World. On a podcast, he said he's willing to spend $1,000 on a proper piece of clothing for just one short form video if it's going to give him that feeling, that confidence, or boost views. $1,000 for just one. I bet he would actually do more if you
Yeah.
give him an actual number.
Yeah. No, 100%. Or if your teeth are jacked up, it's like, dude, go get some veneers or go get some freaking Invisalign. Go get that shit fixed. And if that's going to give you more confidence, having that nice bright smile, if that's going to give you more confidence, get you more views online, then go ahead and do it, because you're going to show up as a better version of yourself and make more money, get more views as a function of it. All right. So what kind of advice would you give creators that are new, that maybe haven't gone out and done the thing already? They don't have the resume, they don't have the track record yet, but they want to start putting out content. What kind of advice would you give those folks?
Yeah, the worst creators in the world are those who claim shit that they haven't done.
Mm.
They get in there, they lie a little bit. And I promise you, I have seen behind the curtain of hundreds of creators, and the number of people who lie online, and I'm not over exaggerating, it's above 95%.
Damn,
It's
are you
above
serious?
This is a gut, I don't have a ton of data, but it
Damn.
is wildly high. And a lot of it's, on accident, or maybe they're over exaggerating, under exaggerating, whatever it is. But if you're a new creator, please do not lie. Instead, what you can do is we can develop something called a super hook. Okay, bear with me because this is going to get complicated. After your first sentence where you tell them what the video is, it's an actual hook, your actual hook, we can add a little bit of social proof in the second sentence. And this is credibility. Now, we don't have to have it be about us. I made $40,000 last month. Instead, what we can do is, hey, I was just listening to this podcast with Huberman, and he said, we're stealing credibility from Huberman. Okay. A great way to do this is you can do this concept of expanded time condensed into a small amount of time. So I read 10,000 pages on content. Here's what I learned in 60 seconds. That's social proof.
Yep.
Nobody cares who you are or what you've done in your life. That's built-in credibility.
Yes.
So you need to, in your early days, if you have nothing going for you in life, steal some credibility, get a super hook. And I try to weave this in like maybe 3 to 4 times a week at the beginning. You don't want to do it every video because you'll get a little annoying, and have like 5 or 6 super hooks in your arsenal.
Yeah. Couple things here. For one, for the folks that are out there like flexing stuff that they've never done before, like don't do that, because you can see right through these folks. I think a good example of this is when I see people like flexing like all these like Lambos and Ferraris. Like the people that actually really have it, they flex it humbly, right? They don't just sit there and like, that's the hook, and like, look at this Ferrari, look at this Lambo, and it's like just shoving it down their throats. That's how I know these folks don't really have it. But then the second thing I would say is this: is if you don't have the resume, you haven't done the thing, well, go and document. Like you said, you can add the books. You can talk about what you learned. You can go and talk about like day in the life. Or if you're a new real estate investor, you're looking at deals, like go do some property tours. Talk about these walkthroughs. Show the walkthroughs. Talk about mistakes, learning lessons. What did you learn today that is actually going to help catapult you into tomorrow? Talk about that. Or maybe you had a big takeaway this week about something that you didn't know, and it really changed the way that you're going to look at things moving forward. Boom, talk about that kind of stuff.
What you just described, this is actually my favorite topic to talk about. I call what you just described, you said document yourself, but there's a key difference here, okay? I hate building in public. I hate the concept where people do lifestyle content and they build in public. I love what you described where it's curate in public. What am I learning? Now let me go share with other people. But the worst mistake, and I'm not kidding, I'm not over exaggerating when I say the worst mistake that creators make is they make too much lifestyle content. It's all about them.
Yeah,
it's what I'm doing.
And that's the number one thing.
Dude, nobody cares about your life. Nobody cares about your life. And even if they did, you have to be at the top 0.001%. Top 0.001%. Even Rich, you have a wild lifestyle. You have the sick cars, the sick yacht. I scrolled your page. Unfortunately, your lifestyle content averages maybe 20% of what a great podcast clip would average, right? And it's because people are so self-absorbed, man. And so for the love of God, please have some self-control. Don't feel like you have to share your life. Nobody cares about you. I don't care if you have cool fashion. I don't care if you have cool mindset tips. I don't care if you're building a little clothing company in your mom's basement. Share what you are learning. Curate in public while you build in private. Okay,
That's
build
so
in
good.
public is so overrated in my
That's
opinion.
so good. Also, to that point, I think whenever you come up with a piece of content to post, especially if you're newer, you need to be asking yourself, are you coming up with this content for your audience or is it for you? Because I think I see a lot of people put out stuff that's like going to boost their ego. And I'm like, dude, that's not how you build an audience. Like you have to provide value. Like the space when people are scrolling, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, there's a lot of options out there for people to scroll through, right? And so people's attention spans is quick. You have to be able to capture their attention, but you have to provide value. And you have to figure out a way to put out content that people want to share. That is the number one metric right now. If you look at the way the algorithms are all shifting, TikTok is probably the most sensitive out there. Instagram is starting to shift that direction. Facebook is starting to shift that direction. But think about the platforms. How do they make money? They make money by keeping the user scrolling on the platform. They don't make money when people close the app, right? And so how do they keep people scrolling on the platform? Is by showing them viral content. And so right now, the algorithm, I think the number one metric is how many shares is your piece getting per 100 views. If you're getting a lot of shares and the watch time is pretty decent, they're going to push your content. The algorithm's going to push your stuff out, and that's how you get a video with a lot of views. If you scroll down anyone's page today, you will see a direct correlation with the number of shares and the number of views, and that's how you get featured on the Explore page, the suggested follow page, and really start growing organically. And that's the hack. But it all starts with providing value. Otherwise, people are not going to share your content.
I'll add something to that kind of algorithmic understanding there. So Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri said the 3 most important metrics: watch time, shares per view, and saves per view. So a little bit of game here, guys. If you're getting low shares, you're not sending it. Number 1, your value or your content is either not unique enough. Number 2, you're not using communal language. Okay. So if I say like, me and the boys go on a golf trip versus I went on a golf trip, me and the boys not going on a golf trip is getting shared to the golf trip group chat, right? So using communal language. And if I'm not getting enough saves, I'm not giving unique enough value for someone to come back. So the actual value, the education I'm giving isn't quality enough, or it's not unique enough, because why would someone save something that they're not going to come back to? And then watch time is just storytelling. How fast, and whenever I say storytelling, I'm talking about moving from information to information to information, not literally once upon a time, etc.
Yes.
So, but yeah.
And I like what you said about the golf trip. And it's like, hey, me and the boys went on a golf trip. Positioning your content to where like whoever sees it is someone that doesn't know anything about you is very, very important. Because I think it's easy for us as creators, especially if you're new, to position your content. It's like for your followers, people that already know who you are. You assume these people know you, and it's like, no. If a video goes viral or it performs very well, 95, 98% of the views are going to be people that are seeing you for the very first time. You need to be speaking to them. I saw Brian Marks put out a video that got a lot of views, and it was like he just had a newborn baby, and he literally held his baby for the first time in the hospital right after his wife went into labor, and it was like an 8-second video with a simple like a good song on the background, and it had like a little sticker, and it just said like dad holds his newborn baby for the first time. Right now, if he would have positioned this a different way and said, POV, I'm holding my baby for the first time, it wouldn't have popped off. But it's like POV, dad holds his baby for the very first time. Now that's relatable to everyone.
That is so good. So one thing there is a lot of people, whenever I say ICP, ideal customer profile, we hear this in business all the time. If you want to be great at content, you need to move away from ICP instead of ideal customer profile, ideal group profile, IGP. A lot of people will say in their business content, I hope my video gets shared in a company Slack channel. Okay, you have to literally visualize what group, what text message, what's the name of the group chat, who are the people inside of this Instagram group chat that my video is going to get dropped into. Okay, that's like the number one thing. You know who's great at this? Ben Wolf. He runs content for a couple local Texas boutique hotels.
Yep.
And he will position his hotels as like me and Bay fall getaway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're sending that to your girl, right?
Yes.
And it'll be like, top 3 things to do on a honeymoon. Who are you sending that to? You're sending that to your girl, right? Instead of just being like, come here to, this place, right? It's so much
Yes.
better. So much better.
100%. But yes, posting for the number of shares, for the number of saves is the best way that you should be approaching the content. If you could figure out how to consistently put out content that people want to share, people want to save, like, you are going to grow. And that's really the number one and number two metrics right there. What would you say is the most useful skill in content?
So you've probably heard that attention is the new oil. Okay. Scott Galloway, big creator, said we're moving away from an oil economy into an attention economy. One of Alex Hormozy's most viral tweets of all time is attention is the new oil. It came out like 4 or 5 years ago. Everyone's saying this. So in a world where attention is the most valuable asset that we can acquire, what's the most powerful skill? To me, what I'm seeing is the ability to pattern interrupt. In a world where I'm going to watch potentially 1,000 videos in one day, who's going to stop the scroll? And you think, oh, okay, this is a hook. I got to get better at hooks. Okay, I don't really care about that. Whatever. The skill is counter positioning. What is a counter position? If you walk into a grocery store or you walk into a gas station and you're looking at water and you're looking at a water bottle that looks just like this. It's clear blue, Dasani, Fiji, Aquafina, and then all of a sudden you see a black can with a skull on it. Liquid death. Boom. It has stopped your eyes. It has given you a pattern interrupt. I call that counter positioning. So how can we counter position? A few ways. Number one is we can counter position through who we associate with. So for example, I'm going to give you an extreme example. Let's say my niche is basketball, and I'm going to counter position by associating with goth people. I'm going to be a goth basketball player. I can counter position by literally associating, like I mentioned before, with different people. Number two is we can go upstream or downstream in kind of socioeconomical states, but also that might mean a basketball player for college students, basketball player for 12 and under, basketball player for rec league executives. You can counter position that right there. And then the third thing is you can counter, and this is my favorite, you can counter position by getting more specialized. So instead of just short-term rentals, counter position into boutique hotels. Okay. Instead of just content strategy, I've counter positioned deeper into data analytics. Okay. So now to separate myself from all these people saying hooks and storytelling and all this stuff, it's like, actually, I'm going to teach you how to read some data. No one else is saying that. Right. So 3 ways to counter position. And this truly is what's going to make or break your content, your ability to counter position.
I like that. And obviously, like with any topic or any video that you put out there, there's going to be a couple different perspectives, a couple different sides of the coin. And so I think that's a good move right there.
Well, Rich, you are a counter position. In a world of real estate guys in suit and ties, the Grant Cardone looking people, we got all black, the built hats, the tattoos on the neck. That's a counter position. That's a scroll stopper whenever someone's trying to give me advice on real estate and taxes. If I associate with this is my tribe, I'm following you more than I am suit and tie person doing a walkthrough with a fancy mic and trying to be really professional, right? Everyone has a tribe, and it's just up to you to make it clear which tribe you are a part of so they can join you.
I like that.
So
now on that note, it's like, okay, if you think about real estate investors and business owners, traditionally, it's like older, middle-aged white guys that are bald, rocking suits, right? And so, yes, it is a counter position. It's contrarian. But also on that point, like I think it's important for, if you're going to build a brand, to have your thing, right? Everyone kind of has their thing, right? Like think about Alex Hormozy. He's got the wife beater, the beard, and the Crocs in almost every video. Ryan Pineda, up until recently, he had his hair dyed like crazy colors. And then Grant Cardone, he's like flexing the jet and all the stuff that he's doing with, the jet, Cardone Capital and all that, the apartment buildings, his $4 billion real estate portfolio. Like that works for Grant. And so, think about like what's going to be your thing. And it doesn't need to be something as elaborative as getting tattoos or dyeing your hair, but it could be something as subtle as like Dan Martell, right? He has like a blue t-shirt in every single video now. It's become his brand. His book, Buy Back Your Time, is blue. He wears the same exact color shirt every single video. And that's become his thing. And so figure out what that's going to be for you as you kind of build that brand, I think is also important. What's the biggest mistake creators make?
Let me paint that picture one more time.
Yes.
Of the counter position.
Okay.
So I want to give us a little roadmap of a creator.
Okay.
0 to 10,000 followers. The goal is skill set. Can I speak on camera? Do I know what my audience wants? Do I know hooks, basic storytelling? Can I turn my camera on? From 10 to 100,000 followers, maybe even a little more, it is counter positioning. What I mean by that, think about Amazon. Whenever Amazon was a company, they didn't start selling everything. They started with books. They spiked into the market, and you should be thinking of your niche like a market. You need to spike in where there's room, okay? And usually that's through a counter position. Where in your niche is there a little pocket of people that aren't talking about your counter position, your like addition to your niche, okay? So then once you do that, you spike in, and then you can start spreading it a little bit more. Let me add another niche, another brand pillar, and I can start spreading. And then eventually I can take over my niche. Okay. Shelby Sapp crushed this. Okay. She spiked in as just a woman in high ticket sales. That alone is a counter position. It were a ton of dudes, Cole Gordon, all these people in sales, all dudes, boom, counter position, the first female. Okay. Then she expands it with just being a girl boss. She talks CEO stuff. Now she's getting the pink G-Wagon, goes on and on, but she spiked in with the counter position of being a female in sales.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. Even with the STR thing, like STR was such a big boom, and it's 8 million STR listings in the world, and a lot of people doing STR content. But it's like, when I started really talking about the boutique hotel game, I started coming out there and saying Airbnb is going away in all the markets around the country right now. Like this is the new game right here, and let me put you on the new game. 40 million retiring baby boomers. Like STR regulations are tightening in all markets. That is a good counter position for that industry, right? Zig when others are zagging. Okay, so what is the biggest mistake you see content creators making?
Yeah, so I talked about this a little bit, but it's building in public. The biggest mistake that creators are making is building in public. And number two, it's not understanding general copywriting. Okay, they don't whenever I say copywriting, it doesn't mean you're trademarking something. It means you're learning the skill of persuasive language through the written word, and then the written word turns into an actual video where you're talking. But so you can fix your first, you can get out of 300 view jail by doing two things: make content for other people and quit listening to your selfish ambition of wanting to show people your workout routine and what you're eating for dinner and what your day in the life is, and instead make it for them. And then two, understand basic consumer psychology, aka copywriting, instead of just, man, dude, the worst advice, bro. The worst advice. Gary Vee just had a video, and I honestly hate saying this because I have so much respect for him. It was the worst advice I've ever heard. He said, fuck the hooks, fuck the storytelling, fuck the color grading, grab the camera and just start talking about your life. Don't do that. For the love of God, do not do that.
Yeah, you're not providing any value.
You will get stuck at 300 view jail unless you are literally a top 0.01% personality where you're just so funny.
Yeah, LeBron James, Kim Kardashian, those types of folks.
Yep. So that's the number one. You will get out of the bare minimum 10 times faster by just doing those two things.
That's really good. I always say split testing is big. We do a lot of A/B testing on TikTok. We also, fun fact, we've been doing A/B testing on YouTube Shorts, and so we will look at these shorts. We'll typically split test at scale a lot of clips from the podcast because we have an idea certain conversations are going to work, but we don't truly know what's going to really pop off and what's not going to pop off until we test it. And so we'll A/B test on TikTok, and we'll A/B test on YouTube Shorts, and we'll look at both of those platforms and see how those videos perform. Any video that performs on those platforms, we'll enhance and bring them over to Instagram. That way we're not shooting from the hip. But also, if you think about it, Instagram being probably the main platform for people of our age that are business owners, real estate investors, that's where like our clientele is. And the audience that we're really trying to curate is on Instagram. And so knowing that when you put bad content on Instagram, let's face it, you lose trust, you lose views, you lose followers. And so by split testing everything, we're not shooting from the hip anymore. We're taking stuff that's already performed, we're enhancing it, and then we're putting it on Instagram. And by doing that, we're putting out a lot more consistent content on IG. So my question to you is, how are you using trial reels?
Okay, before I get to this, I want to talk about the difference between Instagram and TikTok algorithms. This is how you grow on Instagram. This is how you grow on TikTok. I'm going to make it very clear. Number one, quality over on Instagram, quantity over on TikTok. You can get away with a lot more posts on TikTok. Why? Because it goes to non-followers first. So we get less follower fatigue. People get pissed off at us less whenever they see us 4 or 5 times because that doesn't happen. Instagram, if I post 3, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times in a day, I have to be careful. My followers can get follower fatigue. And then what happens is they become a ghost follower. They no longer engage with my content, but they're still following me. And that's where you get these 500,000 view or follower accounts, but then like a couple 3 to 2,000 viewed videos. Okay. So that's the first thing. Number 2 is formats. We need to have more natural formats, a little bit more walk and talk. Maybe you're in the car over on TikTok, a little bit more higher creative, not necessarily production, but higher creative formats on Instagram. Maybe a nicer camera, maybe a green screen. It's crazy. My most viral video on Instagram, it's a green screen, is in the bottom 6 on TikTok. It's nuts. And then the third thing that we can do is storytelling and pacing. So on Instagram, you gotta be a little bit more dialed with your storytelling. You can't really get too loosey-goosey whenever you're over on Instagram. But on TikTok, they kind of want you just to like rant a little bit, cut less, do whatever you want. So that's a little caveat there. I know this doesn't entirely apply to the podcast because we're A/B testing, but this is how we use trial reels. I have 3 strategies for you that I'm going to put you on to game. And the first thing I want to say is if you are one of those people who just used trial reels by posting your most viral videos over and over and over again, and now you're frustrated at trial reels because, oh, they patched it. You're just not creative enough. You're not a problem solver. Okay. Find ways. This is the most valuable tool we have seen in social media and any platform in a long time. And just because you can't get away from taking your exact video and posting it 20 times a day and getting free followers doesn't mean it's a bad tool. So here are 3 ways. Number 1, I call it basically like the Yap fun fact method. So this is what we can do. We're going to go to ChatGPT. We're going to type in the niche really, really, really practically, like dialed, like get specific. Say, give me 20 fun facts. Then we're just going to go for a walk. We're going to go in the car. We're just going to say, I don't know who needs to hear this, but fun fact. Nobody's telling you this, but fun fact. And we're just going to post 20 a day. Now, this is where the value comes in. All we're doing is we're looking for sentiment. Which ones got the most views? That tells us there's a topic there that people want. So what you could have done with me, let me go figure out what people like. My audience it's still close to my audience with a guy who's going to understand personal branding and content strategy. Let me go put 20 fun facts in. Let me go rip them. The top 5 could have been questions that you asked me on the podcast. These fun facts, maybe one of the fun facts was, how do hotels use UGC creators to grow their marketing? Fun fact might have been, hotels that use UGC creators to grow, see a 30% boost in revenue. If that video went viral, that tells us that your audience loves it. Okay. The next strategy, bear with me here because we got a few of these.
No, I'll break it down, dude.
The next strategy is A, B, C, D, E, F, G testing, on-screen text hooks, and verbal hooks. So this is what is extremely important. Instagram added a visual duplicate detector. So if the video looks too similar, it'll say 0 views, you're trying to do the same thing. But the on-screen text, we can make different colors, different sizes, different fonts, different placements, and we can trick the visual duplicate detector. So we can have the same video. So this, if we want to do this the easy way, you have your most viral video, you get 10 different on-screen texts, you move them around, and you have your exact same video 10 times again. Okay. You can also do this with verbal hooks. What we're saying, hey, right before you record the video, go rip 10 hooks, stitch them on to the main thing. The last one, and this strategy, we're adding close to 10,000 followers a month for one of my clients. I call it the B-roll lead magnet method. Basically, she just has 100 videos of her just doing fit checks in San Francisco. Just videos of her just like looking in the mirror, doing whatever she wants. We just put these little on-screen text hooks that just say something like, if you're not getting, gotta be careful if I'm allowed to say this.
No, you could say it, man. This is not a PG podcast.
No. I don't know if she wants me to expose her because some people, I'll say it, whatever. One of her videos that we post all the time, it says this. It says, if you're not emailing companies for free conference tickets, then what are you doing? Really simple. It's nothing crazy, but that hits a chord, it hits a nerve with the followers or the non-followers actually. And then there's a lead magnet. Here's my comment cold to get my my networking or my outreach lead magnet. And then all of these followers have to go through a DM sequence and there's a follower contingency. So this is basically a follower ad to get a free resource. She doesn't have to do it. She's recorded 100 videos. My editing team, we spin up hundreds of little 1 sentences. So it could just be like, if you're, boutique hotel and you're not using UGC creators, what are you doing? And then in the comments, comment UGC for my 5-day guide on how to get UGC creators in your hotel. post that 10, 20 times, and it's just this 8-second video. It just keeps going out into the ether. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 a day will pop off, and they have to go through the DM sequence. And there's a little, are you following me? If you say yes, you get the free thing. We just will print followers. So that's some game that like people have to pay me a piss ton of money to get.
Yeah.
And you're getting it right here. That alone right there, those 3 strategies, if you start implementing them right now, maybe a third, you will gain thousands of followers. You will gain thousands of dollars, and you'll get, more importantly, you'll get thousands of pieces of data for your audience in the surrounding audience.
I like that. And to take it a step further, the DM sequence, it's like, yeah, she's getting a follower, but she's also getting a very warm lead to buy her products, which is going to be a way to monetize it. So I love it, dude. That's really good. What are some non-obvious tips to improve content today that are rooted in psychology? The truth is, if you're a business owner or real estate investor and not putting out content, it's going to be hard to compete in 2026 and beyond. I started building my personal brand 3 years ago from scratch, and since we've gone from 4,000 to over 600,000 followers, and today we're averaging 24 million views per month across all the different platforms, and it literally drives 85% of all the leads for my business. This is why I started the 7-Figure Creator, a private community with 130 plus business owners and investors. We focus on how to scale your personal brand from social media, podcasting, and ultimately how to monetize all that attention to get more leads for your business so you can make more money and ultimately buy back your time. So if you're ready to take the next step, DM me on Instagram at rich_summers, DM the word action, and I'll send you all the details. Now back to the show.
This is going to blow your shit because people don't think like this. Number 1, comment farming. What is this? Comment farming is this concept where, not rage baiting, don't get this confused with rage baiting, but what we're trying to do here is we're trying to plant something passive that has nothing to do with the video and get people to go to the comments. Here's an example. It's a girl named Wall Street Wardrobe. She walks down the cities of New York telling people about private equity or something. She has a Birkin bag. Okay, not bad, but she keeps it open. All of the people in the comments rush, close the bag, you're giving me anxiety. Her most viral videos, she's just walking on the street with an open bag, has nothing to do with the open bag, okay? Another example of this is a guy named Ashton Hall. This is the dude who got famous for dunking his head in the water and doing the day in the life, if you remember that. He will just, throughout a 60-second video, just put 10s and 20 of these comment farms. He'll drive away with a bag on his roof, his gym bag on his roof of his car. And people are like, oh, dude, the bag's on the top. Or he'll rub a banana peel on his face for just a split second. And someone will be like, did you see the banana peel he rubbed on his face? Just these little things that can just drive engagement in the comments. Okay, number 2 is something I call sweetening the audio. Okay, if we look back about the music industry, I don't know a ton about this, so don't freaking crucify me. All right, the principle remains. Basically, back in the day, and I think they still do this now, is they will run a song through a tape recorder and they'll speed it up a little bit and then re-record it. So you have a song, maybe it was 3 minutes and 40 seconds. We run it through, we just get it a hair faster, and it's 3 minutes and 20 seconds now. And then they pitch it up a little bit. What this does is it hits a frequency in the audio that literally scientifically makes people feel differently. It's called the love frequency. It kind of gets people, gets people revved up a little bit whenever they're listening to the song. We can't necessarily hit the exact love frequency whenever we're talking, but the principle applies. We can speed up our videos just a hair, and we can pitch it up just a little bit. You go to CapCut on the desktop. Okay, it has to be on the desktop. Why? Because CapCut app, you can't get the exact percentage we're going to talk about. And the TikTok app, it'll distort your voice if you speed it up. CapCut desktop, 1.05x.
Okay.
1.05x.
So it's just 5% more.
Yes, exactly. What this does is it feels natural, but those moments, I call them lulls or exit signs, where someone would have gotten bored and swiped, you're moving just fast enough. So right before they would have psychologically swiped, they're still watching the video. It's going to average, what I've noticed is you're going to get 5 to 7 seconds more watch time, which is 20% more views on average. Okay, then we're going to pitch it up. And all this is going to do, it's just going to give you a little bit of this frequency to your voice that people like listening to a little bit more.
Now, this is just going to be a volume thing when you say pitch it up?
There's a setting inside of CapCut on the desktop. You basically go to I think audio changer or audio effects and sound effects, I think is what it says. And there's going to be a huge list. It's going to be radio voice or I don't know, a bunch of different things. Inside of that massive list, you got to look for it. It's kind of hard to find. It'll say pitch up. You just click that you'll barely notice. And that's the goal of this. You want people to barely notice. And it gets at that perfect sweet spot, sweetening the audio, where you're moving. It's easy to listen to. You're moving through it, and it's going to keep you from getting lulls and kind of dropping. So those are two. You want me to keep going?
Yeah, keep going, man.
All right,
Drop all
number
the game,
three.
bro.
Number three, this is a huge one. It's the easiest one. We need to be replying to every single comment with a question. Okay, so this is what happens. Let's say you get 10 comments on a video. If I reply to every single comment, that's at least 20. And as far as I know, the algorithm doesn't distinguish if it's you or someone else commenting. So this should show double the amount of engagement. Bonus points, you ask a question, half of them are going to reply to your question. So we just went from 10 comments to 25 comments.
That's good.
Okay, a little bonus point. So you got a hater in your DMs, just say, get out of my DMs, bro. Or no, excuse me. Bonus point, if you have a hater in your comments, just comment and reply to his comment and just say, get out of my DMs, bro. They're not actually in your DMs, but it just pisses them off. So then they just start, what are you talking about, bro? I'm not even like, dude, yeah, I literally have your DM right now. No, I'm not. And then next thing you know, this one little hate comment turned into 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 comments. 8 tons. And that's all engagement. That's all engagement. Okay, so that's absolutely massive. That's a hack for sure.
I like that. Another thing I noticed that works well for us, we started doing this earlier this year, and this really increases the watch time, is having a sticker that's floating on the beginning of a video. It's a visual hook, but it also allows us to really just jump right into like the meats and potatoes of the actual video without having to have some sort of like, verbal hook. And this works really good for like podcast clips, is having just literally anywhere from 3 to 6 words, nothing too long. And it really acts essentially as like a YouTube thumbnail for a long form video on YouTube. It's basically a thumbnail for a short form video that you might put on TikTok or Instagram. And it should be something that's relative to the video, but is eye catching. That's going to get people to be like, oh, shoot, I want to learn about this. I want to watch it. I got to watch to the end. And so we started doing that earlier this year, and that really, really increased our watch time as well.
We actually studied your guys' podcast on Mark's team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because long form, we were trying to get our long form condensed, and we were having Mark re-record hooks. He's like, dude, Rich's team has this on lock. You put a visual or an on-screen text hook, this little sticker that gives the context. I don't have to come into the office, re-record 5 different hooks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are crushing this. So
yeah, and then you can A/B test a couple different stickers and see which one performs better. And sometimes we might take the sticker off and there'll be a third split test. And sometimes that one might win, just depending on what the hook is. People love numbers. So sometimes if in the verbal hook, if you're jumping into like, hey, like I got this property for $0 down, 0% financing, whatever, those stats, people are like, whoa. And sometimes in that instance, it's better to not even have a visual hook. But the stickers do work very well, especially for the pod, generally speaking. All right, man. Next up. So where is the future of digital marketing going? And we're talking, when we say digital marketing, what do you mean exactly?
Yeah, so digital marketing, I'm basically talking about these content businesses, okay? Like these businesses or creators who have a product or a service, where is their marketing online on social media going to go over the next 3 to 5 years? So I lived in Germany for a couple months, and Germany, bear with me guys, is a postmodern society. So this is to my best interpretation. I wasn't supposed to smile at people because they would think that I'm trying to get something from them. They don't have color on their buildings because it feels like manipulation to get people to come inside. They were burned so much from the propaganda in the early 1900s. And so now they've swung the opposite direction. If you're trying to get anything from me, no, get away from me. Literally, you get shunned if it feels like you're trying to get something. Like the idea of capitalism, or maybe not capitalism, but like, maybe capitalism. It's not great. It's not great over there. And with AI and with content losing more and more trust, this is going to hit American social media. It's going to become a postmodern pocket of culture where people are going to hate the concept of being clickbaited, of talking to a setter that is not the actual person. Setters are going to be done in the next 3 to 5 years, I think, because people are going to be pissed. Number 3, I think paid ads are going to get 10 times more difficult because people, again, are going to move away from traditional advertising. Instead, this as much as I do, the only thing that's going to stand is long form and short form content, and then a few other marketing principles like crowd marketing. I'll go this real quick deep dive. Crowd marketing is basically this concept where you get real individuals with a really specific demographic, and you pay them to take a task that's unbiased. So let's say you hire a crowd and you want them to go to your hotel here. So you can hire, let's say you're struggling, man, why are we not getting the college students to come check out our hotel? Let's go hire a crowd of SDSU students and have them stay at one of our hotels down here in Little Italy. And then they leave an honest review. It's an honest review. You don't pay them to leave a fabricated review. But what this does is, one, if you have a great product, it's going to win because you're going to get more reviews, and it's going to go up. And then also word of mouth referral. Okay. So I love this. This is something I think is going to crack big in the near future. Another example of this is, let's say you're a running shoe company. You want your company to have a shoe at a marathon. Let's do New York Marathon. You could say, hey, $20, wear our shoe at the marathon only for the first few miles. If you hate it, take it off. If you love it, keep wearing it. So this is the future of digital marketing. Less sales, less closers and setters. Unfortunately, I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. Less paid ads. There's only going to be a few things that are going to stand, and that's organic content.
Yeah, I know a lot of people personally. Pace Morby's one of them, where they're going away from paid ads. Michael Sartain a little bit as well. But I think organic content's always going to win. Like, especially with AI becoming more and more prevalent moving forward. I think, the more authentic you can be, the more genuine you can be. Also, I think long form is going to become more and more prevalent moving forward because, with AI, I when I scroll through videos, and I don't do a lot of scrolling, but every now and then if I'm like scrolling looking for some like creative like ideas, I will see a good amount of people. I can tell they're just reading a script like from AI or like a teleprompter. You can just tell. And they might be having a conversation. It looks like they might be sitting in a podcast, but I know it's not a real podcast because you don't see the other person and they're not having a conversation. And that's why I say, podcasts and long form videos is going to be one way to really, really stand out and separate yourself from the pack in 2026, 2027 and beyond, especially with more and more AI. Really, there's AI clones now too. Think about that. So, I think the long form is going to become more and more prevalent moving forward because of AI.
Yeah, exactly. 2 additional thoughts to this. In-person events are going to become 10 times more important. Okay. Your communities, the fact that there's in-person events, it's literally the backbone, in my opinion, of some of those communities. The second thing is, on another podcast, RPN, who's a big AI creator, said we only have about 2 to 3 years to build our personal brand. Very similarly to how our parents and the parents' generation before us were able to get real estate pretty easily and just kind of hold on to it. We're running out of digital real estate, personal brand real estate, because here soon, AI is going to be able to make 1,000 videos in my niche with 1,000 different faces and put them all out at the same time. So take advantage of this window now because it's closing really fast.
That's really good, dude. I love that. Okay, so we talked about a few different things. I want to talk about next, how often you should be posting different platforms. I hear people tell me all the time, they're like, man, I'm struggling just to post one time a day. And I always say, if you're struggling to post one time a day, make yourself post 2 times a day for an entire 7-day week. And once you get conditioned to post twice a day, going back to once a day is easy. It's like when you go to the gym, right? What's the best way to go up and weight? It's like, go up and weight. And then once you go back down to the other weight that you're trying to do, it now becomes easy, right? Progressive overload. What's the best way to get yourself to post twice a day, 14 times a week? Make yourself post 3 times a day for 7 days, and then going back to twice a day becomes easy. But like you alluded to, there's always a sweet spot. I think especially on Instagram, if you start posting 4, 5, 6 times a day, now your reach is going to be minimized because you're kind of stepping on each other. And so I think for me, from what I've found, we've done a little bit of testing. I mean, the sweet spot on Instagram is posting twice a day. However, if you're able to come up with really good, high quality content, you can get away with posting 3 times a day. And I would say separate those 3 posts by like 6 hours in between. Maybe like an early morning post, a midday post, and then an evening post. Dan Martell does a really good job with this. His creative director, Sam Gaudette's coming on our 7-Figure Creator call later tonight to drop out of game. And they do a really good job of posting 3 times a day. Now, it's all high quality content. It's all content that's been split tested. And so for someone like Dan, it makes sense. Now, you're not that person. Find the sweet spot, right? If you can only come up with 1 really good quality post per day, then maybe 1 a day is your sweet spot. For us, we're doing about 2 a day, morning and then evening. One more thing I'll say on this note. What works good for us is we'll hit them with a Twitter post in the morning and then a video at night. And the reason I do that is because in the morning, especially Monday through Friday, people are typically, at least our audience, business owners, real estate investors, people that are actually doing something with their lives. They're busy. They got things going on, right? They're not just sitting there scrolling videos at 8 a.m. on a Monday. They're going to the gym. They're driving into the office. They're going to work. They're dropping their kids off at school. They don't have time to sit there and scroll a 60-second video, but they have time to watch a 4-second thing that's going to give them some sort of value for the day. And by the way, those Twitter posts can be shared to stories, and you get a lot of shares because now they're getting social capital by sharing it on their story, right? They're now creating something by sharing someone else's Twitter post on their story. They're giving value. The videos at night work very well because people are more likely to be home after work, after dinner. Now they have the attention span to sit there and digest the 45-second video. And so we'll hit them with the videos at night. That seems to work very well for us. But wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on posting frequency on the different platforms?
Well, first, hearing you say a couple weeks ago, you said, if you want to post once a day, post twice a day. That I personally applied that because I was struggling to get one post a day. And I was like, this is so good. And what happens was I ended up averaging one post a day, but I was carving out 2 opportunities for myself. So even if, business got a little hectic, it was double the priority, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're still in the stars, whatever that is. So that's like, dude, like, one, thank you for that. And it's like, since you said that, I've probably grown 30% in like 2 weeks, my whole following, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So that's gold. When it comes to understanding how often you should post, I get this framework from Caleb Ralston, who was Alex Hormozy's old creative director. Okay. Legend in the game, worked with Gary Vee as well. He calls it the accordion method. Okay. So early in your journey, you probably have such shitty content, you shouldn't post more than once a day. Instead, you should compress your time. So let's say I have 2 hours to post content into one video. Okay. Maybe that one video, I'm thinking more about the idea. I'm thinking more about the hook. I'm thinking more about the storytelling. Maybe I'm watching a quick YouTube video to learn about content. My time is getting compressed into a higher effort, one video. Okay. Then we crack the channel. To me, this is whenever we start hitting 3,000 to 5,000 views per video. We feel pretty confident. We're growing, maybe 300 to 500 followers a week. It's like, oh man, I'm starting to kind of get the hang of this. We have the skill set now. Accordion goes back out now. Now we post the 2 times a day, the 3 times a day. We have it in our DNA. We can start scaling the content. And this is where the growth happens. This is where I see people absolutely level up. Whenever I'm consulting people, we will spend months in the trenches. Get the best video, and then you have it. Go, and then boop, and they will just skyrocket their growth. But then this is what happens. They plateau. Just like any audience, it's mass psychology. They're going to get a hair burnt, a hair fatigued. So we want to compress it back down. We want to level up into a higher piece of quality. Okay, maybe this is a nicer camera. Maybe this is a new format. Maybe this is a better storytelling method. Maybe there's a little bit of research that goes into this. Maybe it's a podcast that I'm launching. We now break through the new roof, and then we expand back out. And we just play this game over and over again until we get to a point where we're so big that we need to hire a media team, and every piece of content is dialed, and we're posting where we don't get follower fatigue, which is that 2 to 3 times a day. That's like the max, in my opinion. There are some creators where they can get away with it, but on TikTok, you can go a lot more. You can go a lot more. You can go 5, 6, 7 because it's non-follower discovery, which is fine. But the accordion method is how you win in your journey. In, out, compress, expand, and you will be just fine. Don't post shitty content 5 times a day.
Yeah, no, 100% agree with that. Speaking of media team, I want to get your thoughts on obviously building a media team. If someone's listening to this and they're a creator, my thoughts are this: if you're a business owner and you're building your brand, or maybe a real estate investor building your brand, and you have the means to go hire someone to be dedicated to you, I think that it's a good thing because it's going to, when you have someone full-time dedicated to building your brand, whether it's a creative director or maybe someone that's starting in a part-time capacity, I think it can be a good thing. But you got to be prepared to obviously manage them and have the right KPIs and know exactly what the direction is. I think that's very important. Currently, we have 2 full-time media team members on my payroll. We got Oscar, who's been shooting with me since day one. He's not on payroll. He's got his own agency, and I'm one of his many clients, but he'll come in Tuesday mornings. We'll shoot a couple podcasts. And if I need to go shoot short form out in the field, or, we're going to host a real estate meetup, he's going to come capture a lot of that stuff, right? It's great. Now, what I found is when you hire media team members, people either like to shoot or they like to edit. It's rarely someone that loves to do both, right? But in the beginning, you don't have the means to hire one of each. And so you have to go find someone that can do both in the beginning. And then the last thing I'll say that I think is good advice whenever you have the media team is bonus them out based on number of views. And so my 2 editors on payroll, on staff, they're freaking great. And they chop up all the clips from the podcast, but I will bonus them out at the end of the month based on views. And so any video at the end of the month that gets 1 million views, I bonus them out $1,000, 500K views, $500, 250K views, $250, 100K, $100. And by doing that, it now creates an alignment of interest for these videos to go well. When we get out of a podcast, now they're taking that podcast, they're chopping up all the shorts, and they're fighting over who gets to edit the best ones. But also, they're going to spend an extra 15, 20 minutes on each video, getting the perfect B-roll, cutting out any of the lull points, having the best possible hook that's going to give you the best possible chance to have a video that performs.
That's so good. I've heard the bonusing and it's a 10 out of 10. I'm curious, if you had to hire someone for your media team right now, what role would they fill?
Right now, today, and this is going to be our next hire at some point whenever we hire another person to the media team. I want someone that really understands YouTube, that is really good at YouTube thumbnails. Right now we use third party, pay them about $1,500 a month, and they do all the thumbnails. I want to hire someone that can do the thumbnails in-house. And I also want that person to be able to do trailers for the podcast. We're doing 3 episodes a week. And so on YouTube, it would be so much freaking doper if we had a 60-second trailer that was literally chopping up the entire podcast into highlight reel, and essentially acting as like a hook and giving the audience a reason to watch the entire video. That's what I want for next year. And I think that's going to help us really, really scale the YouTube.
Yeah, that's sick. It's like half editor, half strategist.
Yes.
Almost.
But also think about this. Now I can take those trailers and put them on my Instagram story as a way to promote all these episodes with a button to listen or some sort of CTA to listen. And so it's only going to bring more people from the short form over to the long form.
Check out Open Residency.
Okay.
They have crushed trailers,
Okay.
podcast trailers. They're doing so good on that. Okay, so how to structure a media team. I would say $0 to $30, $40, $50,000. You should be doing almost all of it yourself. Maybe go get an overseas editor. You can get an overseas editor. Mine is absolutely 10 out of 10. And he's $1,800 a month. And he is living in a high rise in the Philippines. All right, he's crushing it. Clipped, CLIPT, Clipped Media is a sourcing agency to help you find editors overseas. Okay, that's probably all you need in the early days. Okay, you probably don't need a videographer. You probably don't need a strategist.
Yeah.
You need to learn before you can actually hire. Jeremy Haynes says you don't want to hire anything you don't know about because you don't know if you're getting screwed over. So it's good to learn the content, right? And then you want to move into an agency for a small window. An agency is going to be kind of like a little annoying because they're going to be having multiple clients. You're going to be kind of like, brother, like I'm paying you a lot of money and, I'm not hearing from you a ton and, whatever it is. This is what my business is. My goal is to move people into an in-person team. So that window where an agency is really good, it's basically like the 30 to 40,000 up to maybe 100, 150,000 a month. Okay. Then we want to start building out this media team structure. 4 hubs. We'll go short form hub, long form hub, written hub, and then a miscellaneous hub. Short form, we need a strategist and an editor. We're going to get the strategist for maybe $8,000, and then we're going to get the editor overseas for $2,000. Long form, we need a thumbnail budget, an editor, and a strategist. Okay, we're probably all in maybe at $14,000 there. Now we need 1 copywriter who's also going to be a ghostwriter. This person's going to be repurposing the podcast over to LinkedIn, Twitter, newsletter, all that stuff. The miscellaneous is where people get tripped up. You need a videographer following you around if you're at this level. This is where lifestyle content actually becomes pretty powerful. And then they're feeding it over to a clipping team, to another 2 editors overseas that are just going crazy, just clipping up. We have a second channel that we're just spamming stuff over to. We need VAs to help with the posting cadence, doing research, all that stuff. You can get those overseas. And then bonus points if you can get an AI workflow builder that can speed up this process, go scrape for your podcast research. I have a workflow where I drop in a TikTok video into a Google Drive and it turns it into X posts for me, LinkedIn posts for me, Reddit for me. It'll even post in Reddit because that's going to become a big AI search engine optimization. So all in, you could get a full media team with 4 hubs for about 60 grand a month. This is the Hormozy blueprint, the Dan Martell blueprint. I've seen the inside of these guys' teams, and this is the highest level. And work with an agency first, and one that's going to help you put this in place, because like you said, managing that many people is a pain in the ass. Oh, and then the most important person is the creative director. It's the Sam Gaudette. It's the Caleb Ralstons. It's the Callum Johnson on Simon Squibb's team. It's these unicorns. There's only, I was just having an email with somebody, said there's less than 50 of them in the whole world. So that's the journey to really get a top 1% media team.
Yes. I love it, dude. I love it. Briar, appreciate you coming on, my man, dropping so much game, so much value. Where can the folks get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
Yep, Instagram, Briar Cochran. DM me there. I'll answer. If you put Rich Summers in the first couple sentences, I'll answer any questions you guys have.
I love it, dude. He's Briar Cochran. I'm Rich Summers. Listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.